This is Keith with HRP, and today we're going to show you how to do NAPL screening. We're showing you how to use an oil interface probe and detect the presence or absence of oil. You have different types of NAPL. You have L NAPL, which is a light oil which floats on top of the water, and a D NAPL, which is a heavier, dense, that sinks to the bottom. All right, so what you're going to need to do some L NAPL screening or D NAPL screening, you're going to need tools to open your wells. This one's a big vault, and we only need some screwdrivers and crowbars to open it. Otherwise, you'll need a socket set to remove the bolts and take the cover off. You'll need an interface probe, whichever brand you use. We typically like the Salinists. You'll need your poly, some silicone, and a peristaltic pump. You'll need some jars to pump your oil into, and then your sampling containers to get your oil sample of. And then some cooler and ice, obviously, like always. Gloves, PPE. So we're gonna start by opening our well and checking to see if there's any presence or absence of oil. This well typically has L NAPL, which is a light product, it floats on top. When this one detects oil, it gives a solid tone, and when it detects water, it gives an intermittent tone. All right, so there you hear our solid tone. Our oil is at 5.36 feet below grade. And now we'll need to get the water level. So you want to go through the product until you get your solid tone. Your solid tone goes to an intermittent, and then come back up again until you get a solid tone. That is going to be your interface level. If you just go down and when it changes over right there, sometimes the oil gets stuck on the probe and it's a false reading. Now we've got the level of the oil, we're going to need to get the level of the water. So we're going to stick our probe down further until we hear the intermittent. And then we're going to come back up until it gets solid, and that'll be the layer of water underneath the oil. And usually check it a couple times just to confirm. All right, so that's reading 5.69 to water. So we have 0.33 thickness of oil in this well. All right, for this sample, they're looking to get just a pure product sample without any water. So we're gonna stick our tubing right to the top of the oil and suck right off the top. Place into a jar where if we do get some water, it's gonna separate out, and then we can take the oil out of the jar and place it into our sample containers for fingerprint analysis. Then after that, they want additional samples of dissolved phase, so we'll stick the tubing down farther in the well and collect additional volumes for our EPH and all our other parameters. All right, so we know our water and oil measurements. So our depth of water is 5.36, so we're gonna stick our tubing down to right at a little past 5.36, so we're in just that oil, and just suck that up into our jar. Our tubing is numbered, so we know exactly how far we need to go down to make it a little simpler. All right, so we're gonna stick this down right into the top of the column. Get our piece of silicone. Turn our pump on. And suck up our oil. You'll see it's going to be coming up their tubing now. So you see the product there. For the fingerprint analysis, they don't need very much. We only need like 40 mils of product. So I'm going to probably only fill this jar about half full, so it has time for the water to separate if I do suck any water in. So since this is a light phase oil, L NAPL, the oil sits on top. If it's a dense phase product, it'd be sitting on the bottom of the well. So this way we're skimming off the top. If you're a dense phase product, you'd have to send your tubing all the way to the bottom to get the oil off the bottom of the well. All right, so we should have enough volume here. Let that sit for a minute or so and see if any water settles out, and then we'll put that into our vials, our unpreserved vials, for fingerprint analysis. You can see this is all pure oil. There's no separation of water. If there's water in this sample, it'd be on the bottom with the oil floating on the top. So that's what we're looking for, is pure oil. So you could either pour it into your vial, or you could use your pump and pump it into it to be neater and cleaner. It's easier to use the pump. So we'll get some new tubing, pump the oil out of here into our vial, and submit that to the laboratory. These vials are ambered. Some of them are clear, so you can see them easier. This lab just provided amber vials. So we're just gonna suck the oil out of here. We don't need much. We only need maybe half of this vial's worth. And there's our sample for fingerprint analysis. Put them into your cooler so they're nice and fresh. Cap your jar so you don't spill it. Dispose of your oily trash. We also gonna need something to clean your probes off and decon it in between wells. This is some methanol that we'll put on a oil absorbent rag. As you can see, when we got our oil probe in there, it's coated in oil. So you wanna decon that between your wells so you're not cross-contaminating. Methanol, saturator. Wipe down your probe, make sure you get into the tip of it so you see the oil that was still left on there. So now it's all clean to be used on a next well, and we'll use dedicated tubing for each well. Don't reuse the same tubing. And that's screening for NAPL, using a peristaltic pump, skimming off the top, and an oil interface probe. If you like this video, check out our other videos on YouTube. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications.